All right, let's dive into some spooky spirits, huh? So this is an archetype that got a ton of upgrades in both Jumpstart and Amonkhet Remastered here with Collected Company. So if you'll look here, this is a almost mono blue deck with a white splash for Empyrean Eagle and a green splash for Collected Company. So one of the kind of struggles with Historic is that we don't have a ton of good lands in the format yet, but constructing the deck like this actually goes a long way towards making your mana better. So the thing you need to understand here is it's easier to splash white and green cards if you don't need them till turns 3 and 4. The other thing to point out, because I see people talking in chat, there are 4 Collected Companies here. Magic Arena still, multiple patches later, has not fixed the fact that you can't see the numbers on these cards. For anybody who's taken an introductory graphics design course, white text with a thin black outline is visible on basically any background, so please, for the love of God, Wizards of the Coast, implement it. Shouldn't be hard. This deck wins because it's looking to put a bunch of evasive threats into play. Every creature in our deck has flying, and then we look to pair these flying threats with effects like Brazen Borrower, Nebelgast Herald, and Shacklegeist to kind of bounce or tap our opponent's things while we race them in the air. So our goal is to use our life total as a resource while we run them down with our evasive threats. We've got 4 Lofty Denial in here. It's just a scotch of interaction in the main. And then sideboard, we've got some extra removal, some counter spells, and then some different utility creatures that we can company into. Yes, generally speaking, an incumbent president is a heavy favorite to win re-election. So the fact that he's at 50-50 is a big deal. We bottom Nebelgast in the dark, just like really solid 2-3-4 curve here. Combo control decks. So I don't have good list with the new set that just released, Michael Sticks, but anything Ezreal is fairly combo controlling. So either Ezreal Karma was a deck last season, or like there was a Harrowing Ezreal deck going around. But Ezreal's kind of like the combo control card in Runeterra. I just listened to a work training video that says for kids, the coronavirus isn't unlike the common cold and is not severe. You know, Kool-Aid. So the question here is, Odo Bekilts, thanks for the brand new cheer and sub, I appreciate that. The question here is, and again, this is kind of that damned if you do, damned if you don't position control decks put you into, is what am I playing around here? Am I playing around a sweeper? Am I playing around counter spells? Because, like, I feel like I need to add pressure to the board, but if I add pressure at sorcery speed, I get blown out by Wrath of God, and if I wait to Collected Company, I get blown out by a counterspell. I think I'm just passing.
We still have much to learn.
The big thing that gets undersold by a lot of right-wing FUD media outlets surrounding COVID is there's this huge focus on COVID's mortality rate regardless of the age group, and those groups always severely downplay the range of things that you can experience that are between not a big deal and death. Because it's definitely not a big deal for some people, but it also has like hospitalization and potential long-term lasting impacts for other groups of people.
With thoughtfulness before action.
There's also, and past this card, that past just that, like, there's also lots of things where it's like, well, you didn't die. Like, I've had the flu and never gone to the hospital for the flu, but it's definitely not pleasant, right? Like, I wouldn't want the flu. I would like to go out of my way to not experience that ever again. Yes, this is an incredible draw here. This gives us some counterplay against their various sequences here, right? I did not literally die. In fact, did not literally die. Yeah, the rain umbrella comparisons don't really make sense. The seatbelt comparison is my favorite, right? Like, you don't put your seatbelt on when you get into a car to go for a drive because you're expecting to crash. You put your seatbelt on because you know there's things that are outside of your control that might happen to you. And it's an easy, cheap safety precaution to implement. Any advice on a deck to build to? I've really liked the day and night deck so far, Otto, but there's a lot of different things that have been neat to explore so far. So, is it crazy to cut Kira against blue-white control? Like, against Grixis and against, like, black-based control, I think this is good. But I feel like this is probably not good enough here. Like, this archetype doesn't seem like it has a ton of spot removal. I don't know, Dude Light. They will probably have Cage. How about instead of boarding in things like this, what if I just trim Collected Company in this matchup? Is that crazy? What if I cut some of these? We're only running one. Let's try that. I don't know that I'm bringing in Knights necessarily. Maybe, I guess they have a lot of enchantment-based removal. What did I do to anger the Cocoa Gods? Having a good fundamental understanding of statistics. You know, I almost tweeted something to this effect this morning, but I wish I could say it's surprising how much misunderstanding and misinformation there is about COVID statistics, but as someone who's taught an introductory stats class to working adults, the average statistical understanding that many people who are like just in their 20s and 30s have it's just incredibly low. We do not do a good job of teaching those concepts to people in primary schools. We just don't. Yeah, I agree, Logan. In general, it feels good not to have my entirety tied up in WotC stuff. So, little sequencing talk here with my lands. You'll note that I shocked on 2, and the reason why I did this was I wanted to not represent that I have a 3-mana spell on 3. And then now this turn, you'll note that I elected to play the untapped land, leaving my shock land for next turn, because when I shock in my 4th land, that will communicate that I could likely have collected company, which I explicitly don't have. So, by sequencing my lands in a particular way, I could potentially send my opponent signals that are different from what my cards actually represent. It's one of those things that, like, it probably doesn't impact a ton, but, like, against more experienced opponents, they could read more into it than is good for them. Yeah, and exactly. And this is a matchup where explicitly my life total is irrelevant. So, like, it's fine to play games with my life total. Oh, I didn't update the stream title. Thank you. Appreciate you. Yeah, it's a small percentage play, but the cost of making it is just basically non-existent. Untapped land? Hey, Arpai, thanks for 11 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. That's true, Bluefire. There's definitely a degree of you get out of something what you put into it, but I also know as someone who's like, for people that aren't familiar with my background, and this was obviously a decade ago now, so maybe things have changed. I'm skeptical. I know people who still teach, but I had an education minor during my undergraduate degree. I also spent a lot of time. I took a number of curriculum design classes and stuff like that. So I have educational background. So I'm not completely talking out of my butt. Why denial over Veto there? To protect its opponent's counterspell down the line with Veto. And this always counters something. This technically draws dead at some point. And the upside of Lofty Denial is that it can counter creatures. And while they could have something like Baneslayer Angel, I have Shacklegeist to beat Baneslayer Angel. So, like, the thing that this has upside against, I already have covered with this. That's fine, right? They're dead. Okay. $15. They're literally still dead, right? They're literally still dead? This card should not be in their deck against it. If this card doesn't block, you shouldn't board it in. 8, 9, 15. All right. Good. For people that aren't familiar with Timely, if Timely can't block, it's probably not worth having in your deck. Well, so Settle and Timely kind of do different things, right? Like, Timely Reinforcements is much better against red aggro than Settle the Wreckages, for example. Obviously, in this matchup, that's not the case, but there's plenty of matchups where Timely's better than Settle. As is often the case with Control, you're picking and choosing your answers and hoping they line up well. Yeah, maybe Roth. It could be a deck building problem. I think if you have 2 Timelies in post board against Bant Spirits, your control deck's probably not built correctly right now. Like, the first one's probably excusable, but I don't think you ever want to draw 2 of them. And I think that our archetype's reasonable enough that you should probably have it on your mind when constructing your deck. Yeah, control tends to be worse in more diverse metagames, unless it's really overpowered. Is Bant Spirits playable like an historic? Yeah, definitely Flame Burst. We've played variations of it on stream before. It's top baited a couple of the small historic events that have gone around. I expect this archetype to be a mainstay in the format. His artwork is gorgeous. I really wish I could... One of the things that's really spoiled me from Runeterra is I really wish I could, like, full art some of these really sweet art pieces. The fact that, like, everything in Runeterra has a high-resolution image that you could just grab so you could appreciate it in full screen is just, like, really nice. Yeah, I expect when Verdict becomes legal comic, we'll get both Selfless Spirit and Spell Queller, so it won't be a big deal.
Let me aid your research.
Unfortunately, Lofty Denials only counter unless they pay 1 at the moment. Otto, if you think your parents are coming from a position of logic and you think you can have a discussion with them, I would encourage you to stick to actual policy points, because sticking to policy points is not only great because of facts, but like it will quickly show that like Trump's platform is very light on actual policy points, whereas both Biden and Harris have very clearly spelled out positions on most important things. Very light is putting it nicely. Correct.
Seek and find.
Is probably looking for Hydrate Crisis again, and they found 2 of them, which I don't think we can beat at this point. Like, for example, one thing I didn't realize during the primary, because a lot of Bernie bros are incredibly toxic, Harris actually has a really good voting record in the Senate. Like, Harris has a not great record from when she was the DA. Was she a DA or a lawyer or whatever it was in California? But more recently than her work as a prosecutor or whatever in California is her voting record in the Senate, and she is consistently one of the most progressive voters in the Senate. Her positions on climate are super reasonable. And after healthcare, climate is one of my biggest voting points, right? Like, I have 3 kids. I plan to live on this planet for another 50 or 60 years, hopefully. Like, she's not just acceptable. Like, she has actively good positions. Attorney General, DA, and then AG. Okay, so she was both. Got it. I thought she was a DA at some point, but that's good. Thank you for the exact AG of Cali. And again, like, people like to hammer on that older record so often as a way to tear her apart that I was genuinely ignorant of her positions and the way she has voted since she's been in the Senate. And when I did more research on her after she was picked as VP, it actually made me feel a lot better. Because, like, the circles that I were in were people who call themselves progressives, and, like, they actively hurt Harris, who's actually been pretty progressive, because they don't want to let people change. That's a good, Beansy linked a good resource there. Progressive, punch.org. I don't think I'm counterspelling a ramp spell here. I think we're just playing the Eagle and giving him the beatdowns. Maybe I'm supposed to jam the Eagle for the extra point of damage on my turn. I don't think there's a single 3-mana spell I'm countering here, so I think I just missed a point of damage. Yeah, I agree, Licart. As someone who is relatively new to politics, because I really didn't care before 2018, Trump turned me into a radical leftist because he woke me up. It was kind of eye-opening seeing how people who supported Bernie are behaving after he lost the knob. They have a lot of parallels to how Trump supporters behave. Can you give some examples? Even just the Harris example, the way they continue to tear. So I don't want to get into like both sidesism is nonsense BS that I shouldn't be tolerated, but it's okay. Like there's parallels that are less extreme is the way I would describe it. I think I just try and kill them here, right? I just like Supreme Phantom trying to attack for 13. Harris's record is a good example. The way they behave about her completely ignoring the reality of what her recent record has been, I think is pretty showing of like they don't want to let anybody change or improve. Is this going to be the Grazer 3-mana ramp spell, 5-mana spell, kill us again? Oh, no 3-mana ramp spell, God bless. Need to draw some lands here, but otherwise potentially okay for us. Rumplesmith, thanks for 11 months. This card's just so tough for us to cut through. Just like the 0-3 slows down our progress so much, it means we can't really pressure them while we disrupt them. Silent Sword, thanks for the brand new tier 1 sub, I appreciate that. Welcome to Oglandia. I think critiquing people as Bernie bros will make them more or less likely to vote for Biden. I'm gonna be honest, Closet Pan. At this point, I'm not here to coddle people. I'm just not. I've got 3 children that achieve all of my coddling. If you need me to hold your hand and whisper sweet nothings into your ear and pretend you aren't acting like a prepubescent child that can't have their way when you are, I'm just not gonna do that. You want me to treat you with respect, act like an adult worthy of my respect. If you act like a child throwing their tantrum because you didn't get your pick, I'm gonna tell you that that's what you're acting like. I want to be told sweet nothings.
Is this what you want? You want me to talk to the progressives like this and let them know that it's okay that we can't have Bernie, but there's other good picks out there, chat. Just hold them close to your heart.
Is that what you wanted? Let me know. Hold me close, Tiny Dancer. It has been a hot second since we've streamed a whole deck like that. Yeah, normally you gotta sub to my OnlyFans for that kind of content. Normally you gotta sub, that's like my OnlyFans exclusive stuff. I think I'm trading Rattlechains for a Hydroid Crisis, chat. I'm not happy about it, but it's where I'm at in my life. I promise if I ever run for office, I'll share my tax returns unlike Donald Trump. Same, Beansy. Same. So it's funny, the in my young ignorant youth, and for people that aren't familiar, I've talked about this before, but I was raised in a fairly conservative family. So I believed the BS that I was spoon-fed, like, you know, if Obama's birth certificate was real and it wouldn't be a big deal to show it, just show it, right? That sounds logical. It's easy. Like, the very clearly racist birtherism that I now understand sounded normal. Because, like, you say, okay, it's easy, just show it. But, like, the big tipping point in my mind as I became woke was those same people who thought it wasn't a big deal, just show the birth certificate. They were like, well, of course Trump doesn't need to show his tax returns. It's like, oh, okay. So when Obama doesn't show you the thing that's not normal to show, he's hiding something. But when the rich white dude hides something, that's okay. It's like that. It's like those things like that made me realize, like, people I always respected growing up didn't actually have morals or values. They were just racists who were trying to mask their racism with logic and reasoning. They couldn't possibly be racist because they had too much logic behind their statement. Correct. Yes. That's exactly right, Fearburger. It's never enough. There will always be another thing you need to prove. Is exactly correct. There's always another hurdle where, like, if you're being honest, you'll jump this hurdle too. And here's speaking of the game in front of us, this game really shows, like, the Uro, right? Like, I'm not gonna can I double Lofty Denial these Uros and maybe win? Maybe? I assume they're gonna blow this Blast Zone up because blowing Blast Zone up lets them escape Uro. Ewok, thanks for the 23 months. Welcome back. I appreciate it. Oh, if they blow this up, it kills the Hydra. That's an interesting thought. I wasn't thinking about that. Maybe I am supposed to commit. Maybe I am supposed to commit another 2-drop. Correct, Tim Louie. A lot of, and honestly, like, as someone who has two small children, like, a big part of the reason why I cut family members who talk like that out of my life is because I don't want my children to have to overcome the hurdles that I overcame as I became an adult, of slowly realizing that these people are racist. And slowly realizing that, like, they don't actually believe what they say and they're just trying to cover for themselves. It's very, very, very sad. Yep. Don't fail me now. Ooh, don't fail me now. Alright, so I need to do this now, right? Because I need to hit a diddler. We need to hit a diddler here. Hey, diddle diddle, the spirit and the fiddle. The Hydra jumped over the moon. Diddler stops the Hydra. I'm obviously can't diddle this one, chat. But we could diddle the Hydra. And like stop it from smacking us, so maybe we can race. Wow, that's an aggressive attack. Okay, so they're gonna blow up this blast zone next turn then? Yeah, definitely the cart. I bet your wife's uncle has a smartphone too, right, Shayati? We talked about this yesterday. Like, people who think the COVID vaccine is to chip them, like readily having smartphones available to themselves. It's like, dude, they don't need to chip you. You carry the smartphone in your pocket. How is Goblin Company? It was fine. COVID is 5G. It's, yep. Yep. Oh, God. Ooh. All right, so they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They have 10 mana, so I can double Denial and Uro here. You literally point a camera at your junk every time you sit on the toilet. I don't want anybody tracking me, he said in his Facebook status from his smartphone. Yep. Yep. Maybe I shouldn't have shocked. I guess shocking put me dead a turn earlier to this. That was probably wrong. I don't know. I wanted to play a threat out this turn. I think we're just dead. Yeah, is that the out? If they're at 19 and I hit double Lord, I would have exactly lethal. So, castle mana can't be used to pay for Lofty Denial, chat. Castle mana cannot pay for Lofty Denial. And we're dead. I'm really sad that, like, protection is a mechanic that exists again. Cards like Ceratops are just so toxic. Really just not fun. Oh, BT Dubs. I'm a real streamer now, and I have a NordVPN sponsorship. My sponsor just poked to remind me I'm supposed to plug that at least once a week, which I usually do. But if you're looking to secure, speaking of securing yourself in the age of people looking at your stuff, if you buy through my link too, by the way, I get a kickback from that, and you can add a deck to the deck queue as a thank you. If you're thinking about picking up a VPN service, you can use my Nord link to support the stream and secure your connection. Do I use it? Yeah, I use it for, I've used VPNs, Nord specifically for region locked stuff. And in fact, part of the sponsorship deal is they give me access to it. I try not to promote things that I don't use. So like, yeah, I have NordVPN and have utilized it on more than one occasion. Ooh, Kira's probably gonna be good here, huh? Oh, I guess this is goblins, not mono red, huh? Is it Phoenix style decks? You should check out some of the Ezreal decks that have been running around, Pile Q. I don't know an exactly optimal build since the most recent set dropped, but Ezreal's definitely like the combo control style champion that can like burst people down. So I think we're just doing this to start. Like a 2/2's pretty okay at blocking. It's mana efficient for the turn. Next year we'll probably shotgun again and play both of these. I don't know. So, kill switch, the biggest thing that I try to focus on here when I talk about cards too is that, one, I want to make it clear that I agree with you that Ceratops isn't an unfair card. So, that being said, I don't think Ceratops is a very fun card. I think the types of gameplay that it generates tends to be very uninteresting and dry. VPNs basically allow you to route your traffic through a protected connection so other people can't peek at it. It also lets you be able to appear as though you're in anywhere in the world for your connection, which can give you access to like region locked things. So like, for example, a lot of streaming services like Netflix offer different catalogs of shows in the UK versus the US is a very common example. Your ISP tracks everything you go to and visit. VPNs hide that data from them. There you go. And not that I would tell you to do anything, but you know, back in the day, VPNs also used to be very good for if you were downloading stuff you shouldn't be downloading. And Comcast was occasionally sending you messages about stopping doing that. Not that you should do that. You should never do anything illegal or break the law, chat. Oh, a pirate's life is a life for me. You know, I bet at some point, there's probably gonna be a very interesting, there's gonna be like a very interesting documentary on how services like Netflix removed the incentive of stealing stuff, right? Like, all of these streaming services that popped up really show that people are willing to pay for something if it's convenient, right? Like that a lot of piracy of content was because it wasn't easy to access that content legally. And like, when it is practical to access content legally, more people are less likely to do things that are illegal. Yeah, if it's convenient and not unreasonably priced. Exactly those two things. This is 9-10, so that's a lethal draw. And this game kind of playing out exactly how you want spirits to play out. You use your life total as a resource while blocking occasionally and tapping their things whilst racing them in the air. Yeah, game piracy dropped a lot due to Steam. Not having to deal with random CDs and stuff. I actually think this is probably the Nimble Obstructionist matchup, right? Because Nimble Obstructionist counters Muxus Trigger. Deputy Detention seems okay. Is this a matchup where I want Baffling End? I don't know. I'll bring in one. That's true, Pixieval. What am I cutting to board Sunscourge in? 10-ton hammer? What's the trim? Yeah, exactly. I don't feel like I can have both Lofty Denial and Baffling End in my deck, and Lofty Denial to stop Muxus seems important. Yeah, so, like, I agree with you that this isn't great against Muxus, but I also think it's pretty important that I keep a critical density of things that can attack, right? I think going to the movie theaters on occasion is probably the thing I miss the most in the post-COVID world. There's a theater that's like less than a mile from my home that they have a full dinner menu that you can order a good meal while you watch the show. Used to relate, Christian. I would go there once a month or so. Did it just close, Andrew? I didn't hear that. I assume a lot of those places are going to close. Like, I know I probably don't plan to go back to a movie theater until, like, 2022 at the earliest. Yeah, I believe you, Klutz. I haven't really followed much local news. The extent of my wait. Oh, they're Muxusing post-combat. Got it. Brick. They didn't brick, chat. They didn't brick. Why is this card legal? Why is this card legal? Who thought this was okay? Can they be fired? Thank God Flame Tongue Kavu isn't legal in this format, chat. Can we pour one out to the balance team that printed Muxus while making sure Flame Tongue Kavu wasn't printed? Am I allowed to keep this? You're not my dad. Don't tell me how to live my life. Quiet, Kieran. Thanks for the 15 months. Welcome back. Cycle Land makes it okay. I don't know about okay, but I appreciate you making me feel better. Hey, it is a long time, Whiskey Dingo. Thank you for the 32 months. Welcome back. I boarded out 2 of my diddlers because chat told me to board them out, chat. I need my diddlers. Hey, little. High roll, please. Well, poop. I have a 3-4 at least. I'm hoping 2 chump blockers can keep me alive. He said optimistically before he died. And again, like, I feel like these draws are such good examples of why they don't need Muxus. Like, their deck is very good without the stupid 6-drop. So, like, why do they get to do this and, like, also randomly kill you on turn 3? I don't get it. I don't know if their deck's too good from a power level perspective, but from my desire to play against it in historic perspective, it's, like, really slides it close to 0. And, like, I know that this is how non-rotating formats generally work, but I really wish there was, like, at least one non-rotating format where you just, like, didn't have to randomly shrug and die on turn 3 and turn 4. Like, could we just pick, like, one non-rotating format in Magic and just make it so I never die before turn 4 in it? That would be, like, we have a lot of them now. I wish, like, pick one of them and make that be the one I can play where I always get to turn 4. Yeah, NR4, no rush. Everybody build up. I'm going to build some battle cruisers. They're going to build whatever Protoss builds that are way less cool than battle cruisers, and we'll blast it out. What's wrong with carriers? Listen, chat, it's been so long since I played StarCraft, I genuinely didn't remember what a carrier was. I apologize. This ain't the Jeff 9 stream. Yep. Yeah, unsurprisingly, all the people with the Day 9 subs, quick corrections. You are not a good boy. You are a very bad dog, Bolthound. You are a very, very bad dog, Bolthound. That's just rude. I don't know what would be necessary to consistently slow down the format. It's easy. Ban lots of stuff. Yes, this is the turn we get Embercleave, for reference. Are we having fun yet? Runeterra starts in 20 minutes. I think I actually want to keep Shacklegeist rather than Nebelgast because they're going to be a Chain Whirler deck. Want to cut a bunch of these X1s. The cleavings will continue until morale improves. Yep. You know, it's funny, even when Field of the Dead was legal, I talked about how I thought there wasn't nearly enough Embercleave in the format, and I think that's still true. I think Mono Red and Embercleave specifically are underrepresented and very good. I think they are not currently played at anywhere near the level that their power level would dictate that they should be played. Oglandia Runeterra tournaments when? As soon as we have Runeterra Melee. The creator of MTG Melee said they plan to support Runeterra eventually, and when they do, I intend to run tournaments for that game. Cleavage improves my morale, but we might be talking about different things. Oh my gosh. So I feel really bad right now. I don't know when exactly it happened. I must have been really distracted at the time. But apparently, Tamalex made like a really big donation. Like it says 3 hours ago in my dashboard. And I definitely completely missed it. I'm such a pooper, chat. So, Tamalex88, if you're still here, I appreciate you. I didn't block because if they have any Shock or Bone Crusher Giant, they would first strike my thing into oblivion. I think I'm doing this and I'm attacking. Yeah, there's the read on the Shock. Now, there's a chance they have another Stomp or something like that here still, so I'm not sure that I'm going to block with this next turn. Everything is fine. Nobody panic. I'm not panicking, you're panicking. If you don't win at one life, you didn't use all your resources optimally. Ain't that the truth? So this is unblockable. We're actually doing okay here, right? Their board's gonna meet quite the Baffling End. I have Eagle and Supreme Phantom. I've got this to buffer my life total up. If I don't get, like, Shock Lightning Struck here, we're gonna be in a pretty good spot. I think Runeterra is easy to pick up if you just play a little bit of it yourself first. Their game has a really well done in-game tutorial that, in addition to teaching you the basics, also has a bunch of optional, like, puzzle challenges that teach you how to use the different game mechanics really well, which is nice. Okay, so they have Cleave in play, but, like, their board's gone. And it's free to install on mobile or PC. So, my number one tip, if you want to try and take a peek at it and get into what I'm doing with it, just give it an install and play some of the challenges and then ask questions afterwards. And the great part about it is, if you like it, it's very cheap. Because you get to buy just the cards you want, instead of having to buy a bunch of cards you don't actually want. If they attack here, it's not actually that good for them, right? Yeah, because if they attack, I block with this, and then I eternalize this back and gain 4, which is nice. And now I have these two to get rid of this, right? It's like we're actually in a pretty okay spot here now. Ah, ha, 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 staying alive, staying alive. Ha, 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 staying alive. Doo-doo-doo. Hey, diddle diddle. The shackle and the chains. They tapped the Fanatic Firebrand. Are they dead? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. YOLO Swaggins. All right. And now remember, that was the easy game. That was the game where we were on the play. Now we have to get a little sweaty on the draw. All right, so on the draw, is it crazy to cut Kira on the draw for Borrower so I have a little bit more 2-mana interaction? That's probably crazy, right? Nah, I'm gonna do that, I think. I just have too many 3s. And like, this is just something to do on 2. I think I always want more things. Like, I think if I don't have a play on 2, I probably die. In fact, even with a play on 2, I'm probably unlikely to win on the draw if their hand is average. Like, I basically don't think we ever beat a good draw from them when we're on the draw. Gotta hope to get a little bit lucky. Alright, so we keep this and we bottom a breeding pool. Can you Obstructionist or Embercleave attach? Yeah, technically, but that's like super narrow. Is the stage lit? No, light up the stage. It's like Christmas morning, chat. How do you feel about WotC charging more for packs, but they come with guaranteed, rare, mythic, or uncommon wildcards in every pack? Depends on the ratio. I think anything that makes guaranteed wildcards cheaper is fine. Hello, youngest son. When am I done working? I got a little bit yet, bud. I told you, I promise we will play whatever game you want for at least an hour before you go to bed tonight. Okay? We can play Minecraft Dungeons or the Mario Odyssey. Whatever you want, dude. Yeah, in general, in my opinion, there is no reason other than greed that they don't sell wild cards directly. The only reason booster packs should exist on Magic Arena is for the purpose of drafting. Any booster packs that exist for any purpose other than drafting a set are there because for completely predatory reasons. Blood Rage Brawler. Sure. Despite all his rage, he is still just a mentor in a cage. You think they should exist? Options are good. Sure, whatever. If they gave me a good price to buy wild cards at, I wouldn't complain if they also left booster packs existing. I don't think they would need to, but I wouldn't complain about it. Cleave ho! For those of you that are new to Magic, the answer to is their last card Ember Cleave against the red deck is always yes. Never not yes in this situation. Okay, so we're actually in a really good spot here, right? I get to go ahead and Knight of Autumn to destroy that. And then until the top card of their deck is Ember Cleave, we're in a decent spot. So I think the plan here is attack them for 4. And then plan to diddle something with Shacklegeist and then block with our 2 remaining. Yeah, we're setting up to win next turn, ideally here. Scale of 1 to dead. What are we working with here? Let me know where we're at, opponent. Do we beat Cleave here? I think we actually beat Cleave, right? I block here. I block here. They like cleave this. I take 6. They like cleave this. They're still dead in the air. I think we actually managed to beat Cleave off the top here. Never forget this Twitch stream was pre-recorded in front of a live Twitch audience. Alright, God bless us. We beat Mono Red on the draw, champ. Slow and steady. Hashtag sometimes lucky. Sometimes not dead to Cleave. Nothing terrifies me more than the thought of a live Twitch audience. Line roll. Thanks for the quarter here. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Seeing's very good, huh? 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 4. It's just curvimentary. What could it be? So, little fun fact that people don't know. Ember Cleave on Magic Arena was actually a beta test for the companion mechanic. They programmed it so your opponent always has Cleave in their opener, so that way you can play around it. Because you can just know it's always there. You know, there's actually, we've been playing Historic for a while today. Almost 3 hours. Is this the first time we've been Thoughtseized today? It's first or second time. We have not been Thoughtseized a lot today. Surprisingly small number of Thoughtseizes thus far. You know, maybe I'm supposed to lead on Kira here. They're going to play a Saurian and shoot my Eagle and I'm going to be sad. God bless America. I knew it as soon as I cast it, chat. I was like, we're about to get got.
Welcome to the family.
At least it's not an R set, something like that. So Paladin, if you want my recommendation for a Black-Green X Thoughtseize deck, I'd recommend checking out the Veto Rock deck on my website. It's a green-black Explore deck with a small white splash so you can combo kill people with Veto. And now I'm gonna get, like, spot removaled and be sad that I didn't play Kira out yet again. Yeah, I really just foobarred this whole game. Yeah, I went back in. I don't know that we're 0%, but I played this game poorly enough that I don't really feel like continuing. They know about Kira. They saw it with Thoughtseize. This is definitely a Baffling End matchup over Lofty Denial. Probably a Deputy matchup. Kira sounds good. Should have cast her earlier. I'm a big dumb stupid. Sure, my Spectral Sailor, card advantage from that's probably not relevant here. I don't think Sunscourge Champion's good enough. My opponent's aggro deck doesn't have burn in it, and the body on this is pretty unimpressive against a lot of their vampires. I clench every time Jeff casts Coco. Yep. I will have you know that the one time I played Collected Company in a sanctioned Magic tournament, I missed top 16 on tiebreakers. I believe I went 11-4 or 11 or 10-4-1. One of the two. There's definitely a Star City Games Open where I Collected Companied into Savage Knuckleblade and Mantis Rider many a time. Some people got knucked up, chat. I really hope we get that series of cards this fall. I really hope we get all of the KTK 3-color things into this format so I can lose lots of games with them. Definitely big ready to lose lots of games with Savage Knuckleblade and Mantis Rider again. I did not shoot the sheriff, but the deputy shot the gifted Aetherborns. Do 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 do. Well, okay, so for people that haven't been following the release plans for Magic Arena, we won't get full KTK on Arena this fall. We are, however, getting Pioneer Remastered. So basically, Pioneer Remastered is going to be a set that includes a bunch of Pioneer staples in it that will likely be larger than a normal set. And my wallet is quietly weeping, thinking at what the price is going to be to buy a bunch of rare and mythic Pioneer staples on Arena. Okay, I have to imagine a Pioneer Masters is going to be more expensive than Amonkhet was to get to completion. Or who knows, maybe it'll be small. If it's as big as I would like it to be, it's gonna be expensive, but also it just might not be that large. Hey, Miss Min, thanks for the raid. Hope you had a good stream today. Hanging out playing some Bant Spirits here in Historic. Playing against game 3 on the draw here against vampires. Yeah, this is fine. We'll bottom the duplicate of that, so we have 1, 2, 3 curve. Right side, no fetches. Yeah. Big fan of no fetch formats. Alright, so now the question is, do I want to Supreme Phantom on 2 here, or do I want to Rattlechains? I think I just want a Phantom to pressure as much as possible. Really feeling the pain of my 3-color mana base here on the draw in this aggro mirror. The fact that I'm shelling out 6 life just to cast my spells on curve is like a big deal. Okay, so the good news here is we found a land that doesn't hurt us, and this means I get to kill Sorin at least. But Sorin gained them 7 life, right? It gained them 2 last turn, and it gained them 5 on the attack. I really need to draw a Baffling End, a Diddler, something to be able to interact with the board here. I think I'm on the no blocks. I take 8 down to 3 if they pump. The scary part about no blocks here is it means I'm dead to a Sorin activation. Oh, I really needed a way to kill that. I just gotta look for Baffling End, I think. Yeah, I messed up the first game in this set pretty badly. Maybe we don't have a game 3 if I play the first game better. I don't think there was much I could do here. Needed to see a piece of removal, but definitely, I think I likely win the first game in that set if I prioritize playing Kira first. Let's play one more with Bant Spirits here, and we'll shift gears and play some Rune Terror to wrap things up today. Got a couple of brews to try out. In that one, we're going to try some Violet paired with the Gem mechanic on a target, and then some Lucian Ephemerals of some of the new cards. Stalking Shade seems really sweet in the Ephemeral deck. We don't know what archetype the opponent's playing. I'm pretty sure we bottomed the duplicate Rattlechains. Well, it's a little sad that I can't Spectral Sailor on 1 with my mana. Goblins, usually mono red has a turn 1 play. Girl aggro? Could be Girl. It's a great pickup. You should try, if you haven't, Mr. 3000, you should try, Twisted Fizz. I think that deck was more powerful than Teemo Fizz anyways. You have a Bone Crusher Giant here. Rude. Think I just do this turn. Resource variance is interesting. Leads to good gameplay. I think this is definitely a Baffling End versus Lofty Denial matchup. It's probably not a Kira matchup. Deputy of Detention sounds good. There's a little bit of interaction. They're likely a cleave deck, so I think Knight of Autumn probably comes in here. Knight of Autumn can also be a 4/3 to trade with Questing Beast, which is nice. Again, gonna trim a Spectral Sailor because it's not really activating. It's mostly just a 1/1 flyer for 1. Right, 10-10 hammer. Can I keep this on the draw? All these spells are really good if I had a white source, right? What do the kids say? Is it YOLO? I think we're trading Rattlechains for rubber here. If offered the option. You gotta have faith, 10-ton hammer. You just gotta believe, okay? I need you to put your faith at the top of our deck, okay? They drew one. Look at that. They cleared 2 non-lands off the top of our deck. Now we're gonna draw a white source. It's gonna be wonderful. Nailed it. Opponent even did us a solid. We couldn't get there. Rough. Well, I mean... Oh, gosh. I was going to say these can diddle this, but this has hexproof on their turn. Rough. Best laid plans and all that. Excuse me? Well, I mean... At least they're as good at casting collecting company as I am. Yeah, some of that'll change as Runeterra's card pool grows too, Nick. You'll have more options over there. I agree Magic currently has more deck building depth. In large part because of the card pool. It'll be really interesting though, so a year from now, Runeterra will go from 8 factions to having 10. One of their devs said they plan to do 10 factions in the game in a recent AMA. So it'll be neat to see as more permutation becomes available, if that becomes even deeper. I assume that it will. Yeah, this is great, right? We only need 1 land to hit these Cocos. We can, like, do this on 2, bounce something, and then, to me, my company. And this is, like, this match feels like such a good example of why I think it's so important to play Magic as a best-of-3 game. Like, we're literally, like, this is game 3, and this might be the only game in this set where both players actually get to cast their spells. He said optimistically before missing his 4th land drop. We're about to draw a cycle land, aren't we? I'm all alone. There's no one here beside me. Do 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 do. It rubs the 4-drop on its skin, or else it gets the hose again. Gosh! Our opponent's really unlucky, chat. They have 4 mana available, and they just didn't have any plays. It's pretty unfortunate for them. Ooh. No, I don't have any official sponsored stuff or anything like that, Rhino. I just play the game because I like it. I mean, like, that could have gone worse. All things considered, I think that went fine. I think we just do this again now. We're still one card short of escaping Phoenix here. They probably have Cleave in their deck, right? I have to imagine. That's lethal, right? We take 2 and then 6. Deck seems fine. I don't know how I feel about this build. So, we had played... we had played a... Wrong page. We had played a different build of Spooky Spirits before with Collected Company. And the previous time... I don't know about that full effect. I think the card advantage is pretty valuable. I feel like, so that this build that we're playing here had 24 lands in it. And one thing that I really liked last time, it makes the mana a little bit more awkward. Hey, good games, Reese. Good luck in the rest of your laddering today. Is I kind of found myself missing Gilded Goose in those games. I think the red matchup tends to be kind of hard. And Goose making food serves to improve that. And being able to cast Company ahead of curve is often valuable as well. Now, that being said, the one takeaway I do really have from this deck that we played here today is that the red matchup was very hard for this list here. And this build felt like it had good tools out of the sideboard. So I don't think I'm going to change my recommendation of playing Gilded Goose in the Bant Spirits list that's up on my website. But I do think I'm going to add both Baffling End as well as Sunscourge Champion as cards to the sideboard. These two cards together really made me feel like you could have a chance there. And something else cute to note too about Goose in this deck is because this is flying, it gets to attack with your Eagles. Your Eagles gives all your flying creatures +1/+1, which includes your little angry mana dork. Alright, at any rate, that's going to wrap up Magic stuff for me for today. I'll be back again tomorrow morning doing some more Magic, as well as every day this week. We're going to shift gears for the rest of the stream and play some more Runeterra. Planning to do some Magic every morning and some Runeterra every afternoon for my schedule. And as always, you can find my schedule up on my website that I just had open there.